Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of One Sport here on TV1. We have a fantastic show for you, especially all you die-hard Liverpool fans who are watching the show. Today's show is about Liverpool FC winning the title after 30 years. We know he has a huge following across the world, and we want some of you guys to get involved in today's show. We have some fantastic guests on the show. We have Abu next to me back on the sofa today. How does it feel to be back on the sofa?
Just about made it, you know. Yeah. It's amazing week, you know, still buzzing. So, yeah, let's introduce our guest today first.
Why not?
We've got some fellow Liverpool fans here with us today. So, on my left here, I've got Faisal Khan. Faisal, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on, Abu.
Great to have you again. You've been on it before, but obviously different reason this time, you know, celebration, isn't it?
Well, when you mentioned that we get to talk about Liverpool winning the league for an hour, I was like, just can't move straight away.
Not enough, is it?
I appreciate you guys inviting me down.
Brilliant. Kabir Khan on my right here. Kabir, another big Liverpool fan, you know, travelling up and down, you know, internationally as well.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And this Kabir is Ahmed, isn't it?
It's Ahmed, yes.
Kabir Ahmed. Apologies, Kabir.
No
And then we also have Abid Ghani joining us on Zoom, all the way from the northwest. You know, big Liverpool fan and season ticket holder. Abid, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, so let's kickstart Abdal. So you want to give some numbers out because we want the audience joining us as well.
Yeah, so
today
it's a celebration show, really, isn't it? We've got some fantastic guests and we've got Abid online. So, guys, come on, call in 0203 515 1764 is the studio hotline. We want to hear how you feel and what it means to you for Liverpool FC winning the Premier League for the first time in 30 years. For many of you, for me, it's my first time in my lifetime.
Wow, you're too young, Abdal, you know.
I won't say about Abu. This is probably his seventh one.
No, it's not that. I'm not that old.
All right. So 0203 515 1764 is the studio hotline. Please do call in and give us what you've enjoyed about Liverpool this season. They've won it in style. They've won it with games left. We want to know how you feel about the win. And don't forget, guys, we're on Facebook Live. If you're online, you can leave messages on there for us. Abu, do you want to go to Faisal first with our first?
Faisal, yeah. Faisal, listen, journalist as well. So obviously, yeah, you're in the know with all things happening at Liverpool. Big fan as well, obviously. Faisal, just how does it feel, you know, firstly? Because I think it's your first league title, isn't it, since you were born? I think you're pretty young, aren't you?
European champions, World Club Cup champions, Super Cup champions, and now the one that we've all waited for 30 years, Premier League champions, you know. It's probably the best time ever to have been a Liverpool fan. We've struggled down the years, but we're back where we belong. We're back at the top. It's just been a phenomenal season.
You weren't born the last time Liverpool won it?
I wasn't, no.
Wow.
I've not seen... That's the only trophy I've not seen us lift. You know, I've lived through Istanbul, that tremendous treble-winning season in 2001 when we won all 3 domestic trophies, but this is the one that we've all been wanting for so long, and it's finally here, and just absolutely buzzing to be a Liverpool fan right now.
Were you one of them who sort of went to the celebrations in the docks last week?
No, unfortunately, I couldn't make it out. I was there at the parade last year when we brought home the European Cup, but I'll definitely be there when we get the parade, hopefully towards the end of September. But you know, it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you're a Liverpool fan, you're celebrating non-stop, and I'm still celebrating till today. It's just
look, I think the key thing: stay home, stay safe.
Yes, exactly.
You know, let's observe the rules, and we'll celebrate properly. You know, in a few months, whenever it is.
Yeah, 100%.
And Khalid, yourself, you go to many games across. You follow Liverpool quite intensely. I know in your group chats you're very vocal about the Liverpool team, the players, and sometimes critical of the players when needed to be. But this season, it's been good.
It's been fantastic. I mean, yeah, I've been a Liverpool fan for a long time, and I just can't remember a season like this. The team's phenomenal. It's the best team we've probably ever seen in our lifetimes, I think. And it's just been one amazing incident after another every game. And I think just to reiterate what Faisal was saying, I think for some of us who are basically a little bit older, I think we've seen it go through troughs and then basically rise, and this what Klopp's been able to do in this 4 or 5 year period is just phenomenal. And I think we should all count ourselves lucky to basically be watching this team week in, week out.
I mean, what's the feeling in terms of, you know, obviously it's been frustrating for a long time. Was there any doubts in your mind, you know, after last season, so close? How did you feel beginning of the season?
I think, for me personally, I think Madrid was huge. I think Madrid was just for the players, for the management, everything, just to get that first trophy under the in the cabinet. I think after that, I felt he could push it. I just thought maybe, and there was a nagging doubt in the back of my mind that had we just gone too hard last year, and would the players be able to pick themselves up for this year? But I mean, what they've done this year, I have to say, is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, we'll bring Abid in online. Abid, thanks for joining us again. Just in terms
No
of
problem,
what
thank you.
Habib was saying about the starting the season and the psychological aspect of missing out by a point last season, so close. But this season they started off on fire, and you would have think that psychologically they would have been a little bit on the back burner.
Absolutely, I agree with you. It's been absolutely immense and unbelievable. 28 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss, which means we've been unbelievably, worthy winners of the title. We've won it with 7 games to spare, which sets a new record. And like you say, after last season's disappointment of missing out on the league title, despite gathering 97 points and tasting just 1 defeat, let's be honest, we lost it by 11 millimetres at City. And it would have been easy to fall away and let the bitter disappointment of missing out on the title lead to regression. But considering City have set the bar so high in the last few years, with highest points totals, I think they got 100 and then was it 98? And then when you put that into context, it's been a brilliant, brilliant achievement by Liverpool this season. Absolutely magnificent.
Abid, also, before we carry on, listen, I've loved the background. I think you've pinched the trophy already. We haven't had it even presented yet.
Yeah, it's on loan from Anfield. Yeah.
And those of you who know Abid, obviously he's well known on social media. He's very famous for his shalwar kameezes, which he's wearing. The Liverpool FC shalwar kameez, designs it himself. So Abid, looking great again.
Abid, do you have a special one getting prepared already for the big occasion?
Very good, excellent, very good. For the parade,
yeah.
I assume. Yes, very good, excellent.
Abid, the other thing I was going to ask you, obviously, we were in Madrid just over a year ago.
We were.
Together as well. Roasting hot it was. It was tough during Ramadan as well, but we got through it. But again, obviously we've been through the ups and downs, been frustrating. You're a season ticket holder, similar age to me. We've been going for over 38 years, maybe 40 even.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been difficult over the years. What do you think is the difference compared to coming close over the years? What is the difference in the last couple of years with Jurgen Klopp? Obviously, is one issue. What are the other differences that made us sort of get to the finishing line?
Well, he's an absolute phenomenal manager, isn't he? I mean, he's one of those he's not a checkbook manager. He's not your Pep Guardiola's with respect to him. So he wants to develop the players, and look how he's developed Trent. I know Trent came in when Rodgers was there, but he's developed players like him. He's developed players like Robertson, who's come from a relegated team in Hull. He's developed Gini Wijnaldum, who's come from a relegated team in Newcastle when we purchased him. So the fact that he can work with players day in, day out, and he can get the best out of them, as opposed to just signing, big players and just putting a team together. He's actually developed the players, and that one-to-one he can have with them. He's been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Just on that, I'll come back to you. I'm going to take, guys, those of you who just enjoy football and have been lifted by the style of football that Liverpool played and the Klopp team have played, the way they put themselves about, you don't necessarily have to be a Liverpool fan to call in today. Give us your view on the team. They've played some absolutely fantastic football this season, and even the neutrals have enjoyed the fans. And we've been to games when the opposition's fans have said to us, like, you guys you played outstanding.
Yeah.
So we know that. So please, if you are watching, 0203 515 1764, we want to have your views on the show. And we are on Facebook Live as well. So if you want to leave a comment on Facebook Live, do so, and we'll pick it up and answer your questions. And if you have a question for one of our guests and Abid online, do fire your questions across to us.
We've got a caller on the line as well. Let's take the call, Abdal, and we'll carry on. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, Salam, Robert.
Salam.
Salam.
Who's calling and where are you calling from?
My name's Pino, calling from Luton.
Pino, how you doing? You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm a massive Luton fan. Up the Yatters.
Fantastic, fantastic. So you're still buzzing from obviously last week. Tell us about the season. What's the feeling like?
Yeah, not too bad. We're still fighting for survival here at the moment. But I just had a general, first of all, congratulations, Hafs, on Liverpool winning the league title. But I've got a question for the panel in general, because, I mean, I'm a firm believer that human beings and footballers, they deserve another chance. So what do you guys think of Klopp signing Adam Johnson?
Klopp finding, repeat that.
Signing Adam Johnson.
Adam Johnson.
Is that breaking news?
Breaking news. I'm not sure. Faisal, being a journalist, is there any rumours that we're going to be signing Adam
I think
Johnson?
you've got more chance of Jurgen Klopp starting up front tomorrow. Manchester City than Liverpool signing Adam Johnson.
Or me.
Or you, yeah. Wow.
I think Abda's going to make a comeback as well, by the time we
Listen,
get
if
Adam
Adam
Johnson.
Johnson gets in that team, I've got every chance of coming back.
Yeah, no, thanks for your call. But I think, look, one thing whilst we're on that subject as well, we had, obviously, all eyes were on Timo Werner this summer. Kabir, I'll come to you. What's your view? Obviously, how are you feeling? Are you disappointed or?
I think you have to be disappointed. I think his stats are brilliant. I mean, I think I was reading something recently. Goal involvement, he's basically the highest in Europe. So you have to be disappointed. But I think you have to also be pragmatic here. With the COVID situation, with what the financials are looking at, and FSG have always said then they will not be ploughing money into the football club. I think as Liverpool fans, we've seen what happens when you go down that route, right? I mean, 10, 15 years ago, what was it? We were almost in administration. So in that sense, I think you have to be disappointed, but I think it has to be tempered with, you have to trust the scouting network here, right? Like I think that was mentioned earlier. We picked up people like Robertson, we developed internally, and then when they needed to spend money, they did. I think here, to me, I am disappointed, I have to say. I think he's brilliant. I think he would have been a great addition to the front three. Could flick in and out between Bobby at top and also out wide for Mane. So I think he would have been a great addition. But I just think that in this climate, you have to you take it on the chin. I think we'll sign somebody. I just think it might be later on in the window.
Abid, what's your line? I mean, what's your view, Abid? Obviously, is a big player, probably £80 million player, £50 million, obviously due to contractual reasons. Are you disappointed, or have we made the right move here, not going for that, especially under the circumstances?
I am disappointed. Obviously, we do need some backup for the front three. But the fact that the AFCON has now been moved to 2022, is it?
Yeah.
So we're not going to lose the African contingent to that tournament. Now, I can fully understand where FSG are coming from. Pre-COVID, yes, fine. 53, 54 million for Werner, absolutely fine, no problem at all. But with COVID, every aspect of the finance in football has changed. And yes, Chelsea could afford it because of the Morata fee, which they received from Atletico Madrid. But I can understand completely where FSG are coming
Are you
from.
not concerned? Obviously, there's a few games this season even when we had one of the front three missing, we struggled. Are you not slightly concerned if one of them is missing again next season?
Yeah, slightly. You have to be concerned. But at the same time, as I mentioned earlier about Klopp, it's like, for example, you've got Ryan Brewster. He will come good. He will get some first team action next year. There is Origi, which in my eyes is a legend. And there's Minamino as well. And there are players which are up and coming. And I don't think we will go into the transfer market and spend 50, 60 million in this current financial climate. So yes, it is disappointing, but at the same time, I can fully understand where FSG are coming from by not splashing out 53 million for Werner. He's a good player, but would he take one of the top three places? Would he? Subject to injury. So if an injury to a player, yes, fine.
I mean, it would have been a lot of money. It would have been a lot of money to spend on someone who's not going to be in the starting lineup every week.
Spot on. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 53 million for a person sitting on the bench. It just doesn't make financial sense. Yeah. I know fans will say, "No, FSG just splashed the money," but they're looking at it from a business point of view, and I can completely understand that. Why get somebody when first of all, he's not better than the front three. I mean, I've seen him play in the German league and the Bundesliga. He is good, but he needs a lot of developing, which Klopp could do. But when it comes down to the finances, it makes sense not to. And one thing I've got to mention here is that, behind the scenes, when you used to have Rodgers or Rafa, and we used to argue with the owners, and they weren't singing from the same hymn sheet. Klopp is with FSG. They're absolutely singing from the same hymn sheet. He's happy with them. They're happy with him. So there's no disunity there, and they work together. And I think it's an absolutely brilliant relationship. And if Klopp says, "Look, I don't want this player," then that's absolutely fine with FSG and vice versa.
Okay.
And just, I know we can talk more about the players and specifics about the teams and how much money Klopp has spent and the club has spent. But Faisal, as a journalist, was there a time in the season where you thought, especially when lockdown came, that the season's not going to get finished and it's not going to happen? It's just going to, that fear was always there.
I think after Arteta had tested positive for COVID-19, I was thinking, yeah, the season won't get completed. But as the months went on throughout lockdown and this whole COVID-19, you gathered belief back slowly. I think the German Bundesliga really helped the Premier League come back into play. I think that league opened the door for other leagues to come back in. And if it would have been a null and void, it would have just been so disappointed. All that hard work, down the toilet for nothing. But no, in the end, I had slight belief, and I'm glad in the end we are getting to finish the season. And as I said, we've won the Premier League now.
First, would you have preferred it, or Abdal as well? I'm going to ask you this question:
Yeah.
would you have preferred it won it tomorrow at the Etihad against Man City, or
Tomorrow.
would you have preferred it last
Tomorrow,
week?
I would have loved
Tomorrow.
to. But listen, we waited 30 years.
It-
Tomorrow would have been the icing on the cake, but we're league
Yeah.
champions now. We get a guard of honour at the Etihad tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
that's going to be hard for some of them City players. So, we know some of the City players have some big players there,
Big egos as well.
And it's going to be
Can-
hard for them to do that.
Sorry, can I just say on that point, because otherwise I'll forget it later, is that, do you remember last season when City won the league and were they on the plane or a
Yeah.
coach and they were singing about Liverpool fans
yeah.
and
Exactly.
Sean Cox being attacked, etc.
Yeah.
You know what, it's just so fitting that tomorrow they're going to have to give us a guard of honour, and especially Raheem Sterling.
Exactly.
So, yes, I was initially saying that, yes, I'd rather win it at the Etihad, but to win it last week, Chelsea didn't help us. We helped ourselves. We won it all by ourselves. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
28 wins, 2 draws and 1 defeat. No one helped us. We helped ourselves.
Absolutely.
If I just on that, as a journalist, what's been the consensus around Liverpool team this season, around that section of the?
I think Liverpool winning the Champions League last season was absolutely massive. I mean, you look at previous seasons when they've come so close to winning the league, they've just fallen off behind big time. 2009, the following season we finished, 8th under Rafa Benitez. 2014, the season later, we finished 6th under Rodgers. And there was always that worry, will Liverpool be able to do what they did last season but go on better? So I think Madrid, number 6, really, really helped this team. They gathered that sort of winning mentality. And then, of course, within the space of 4 or 5 months, winning the Super Cup and the World Club Cup has really helped Liverpool. And I've always said once this team won one trophy, it continued because we've got a world-class manager and we've got a world-class team. So number 6 for me was a big thing for this team in terms of going forward and getting over the finishing line and win the league.
Kabir, in terms of you being going home and away, what do you think is the difference compared to maybe last season or during the Rodgers era? Sort of from a mental point of view,
I think there's that. I think there's a definite mentality. But I also think the team's progressed, right? I mean, we've got Van Dijk and Alisson at the centre of the defence, right? I think that's we've always had a soft centre. I think as far as I can remember it, like from maybe Julia Benitez at some period we had that, but after that we've always had that issue, right? People making mistakes, and here we've got arguably the best defender in the world and arguably the best goalkeeper in the world, and I think just that structure there has given us a lot to solidify, just to basically build on. And I think on top of that, I guess for me it's, again, I think we keep coming back to it, but it's Klopp. Tactical, 4 years down, 3 years down the line, tactically drilling these players. He's had some of these players for 3 years. Mane's been there right from the off. He's basically taken that journey. I think now that they know exactly what they're doing. I think that's the difference. It's like, I always go back, as in my childhood was Ferguson winning trophy after trophy after trophy, and you'd look at the team, and the team was half of them, and you'd be like, how has he won a trophy, right? And it was just because it was so well drilled. And I think we're getting to that point with Klopp. He's managing to get those.
What do you think made the difference? Is it a particular player? Is it the style of management? What do you think really made the difference?
And just before you answer that, he's actually got some of the younger players coming in now and doing that, as you were saying. It's a system, and we need systems to work just not after that 11, but the next 24 players that will come in.
Exactly, and I think that's how you build a legacy, right? Is that you have something so well integrated, and I think just the idea that we've got the training ground now that's basically going to be integrated for the youth team, and the reason why that works is so that the youth team can see exactly how everybody's playing. So the under 16s know how the under 18s play, and the under 21s, and then basically all the way to and then the players then can easily fit in because they just become cogs in the machine. I think historically what we've done is basically we've either bought players to just fit, or because the system has always been fluid. And I think here we've got a system that works, and everybody else just kind of comes in and out. I think that's what the difference is.
And as we've said, has there been a particular player this season or players that stood out and made that difference?
To me, I think it's hard to look past Van Dijk. I think, but I think Alisson comes quite close. Because I think, and this is my opinion, have no inside information, but I think the scouting network is very good at picking up forward attacking players. But defensively, I think that's been the problem, and defensive stats have always been problematic.
Do you think Van Dijk made a difference then?
Absolutely.
Was that really, really crucial?
I think so. Yeah. I think he's the best defender in the
Kabir,
world.
hold your thought, because we've got a caller on the line. He's been waiting patiently. Good evening, caller. Who's calling?
Hello, Assalamualaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Salam.
Right, I just want to congratulate Liverpool to win the title.
Yeah.
They done tremendously well defensively. I mean, midfield and up front striking, and so well. And like Chelsea, it take a long time to win the title as well, but they got back now, flopped down and done. So Liverpool have to wait for 30 years. I don't know how long Chelsea or like other teams, Everton and.
Who do you think made the difference this season for Liverpool?
This season, I think the defensive is the main key to this. Title-winning team, because the way they defended. I mean, Chelsea game. You think about a Man City game or. Arsenal game. I mean, they were the past years they're dominant of Premier League, but they proved that they are the best team in the world right now. I mean, they will win more trophies if they keep playing like this. And also the other team, which is previous Premier League winning teams, they're gone back down. They need to improve themselves in this level as well. I mean, they're gone down now because. Lack of investment in these teams, and they need to get.
So do you think this Liverpool team now next season can carry on their form, and the players can perform at that same intensity and that same level?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Do you think this Liverpool team next season can carry on this performance and that intensity that they've been playing with?
Well, I mean, if they don't win the league, they will win definitely some big tournament, because. They will come back again, and they will be dominant. If they keep this team together, they will be like dominant, like Alex Ferguson used to do it for Man U. And
hopefully we carry on doing this for another 20 years. Yeah, but thank you for coming online. Sorry, I didn't catch your name. Just quickly.
My name is Joynal. I mean, also, I'm from Bangladesh background.
Okay.
And also, you guys should be inspired by Bangladeshi, some players to get back into the Premier League teams.
Jonathan, we are working on that.
And that will be another show, definitely.
Definitely, we will do another show on that. But thank you for phoning. We got another caller on the line. We got a long queue here today. Next caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, yeah, we can hear you fine.
Oh, hello, it's Asif calling from Luton.
Akim, yeah, how you doing? You okay?
Not too bad. Yeah, great show, guys. I just wanted to make a comment. Obviously, I'm a massive Liverpool fan, just like you all, celebrating still. What does everyone make of Jordan Henderson? He was one player that, throughout his career at Liverpool, has always had to kind of live up to Steven Gerrard, and he's always taken a lot of criticism. But for me as a Liverpool fan, I'm probably more happier for him than anyone at the club because, as I said, he's taken a lot of flack, the last few years, and I'm really happy to see him lift the Premier League title.
Great question, Akib. I'm going to ask you, Faisal. What do you think, Jordan Henderson?
What a fantastic example he is. I mean, to any player that goes to a big club like Liverpool, doesn't, sort of doesn't start off well, but just, knuckles down and just gets on with it. And within since last year, he's lifted 4 trophies, the 4 big trophies. I think what Jordan's done is he's adapted. He's not, he's not your Gerrard type of player, but what he is, he works hard. He'll run for every board. He'll leave everything on the pitch, and this is why he's our captain. A lot of people say, "Oh, Van Dijk should be the captain," or maybe Alisson should be the captain. But Jordan Henderson has been phenomenal, and I agree with Asif. He's the one player that deserves it more than anyone.
And you see him when he plays, Javier, and his passion is second to none. He goes for every ball, every tackle. He's encouraging the young players around him.
Running, is there?
Never and he doesn't stop running. And you see that in his game.
I think we've also got to be slightly. I think we sometimes, because of all these qualities, and he has got all of these in abundance. But I think we sometimes underestimate how good he is as a footballer. I think you don't win all those trophies. You don't play in a Klopp team. You don't play in this Klopp team that's just beaten a team that's got 198 points in 2 seasons, just because you run a little bit. Right? He's technically brilliant, and we've seen it. Like this season is a classic example, right? We all, I think every Liverpool fan, when Fabinho got injured, thought, oh, what are we going to do now, right?
Hold your thought for a minute, because we're going to go into a quick break. So let's have a quick break, and we're going to come back in a few minutes, and we'll join you again. Thanks.
Welcome back to One Sports. Today we're celebrating and discussing the fantastic Liverpool team that has won the Premier League this season with some amazing calls so far already. Fantastic studio guests, and we have Abid online here via Zoom. So don't forget, guys, a quick run through. 0203 515 1764 is the studio hotline. Please do give us a call and tell us how you're living up the league, Liverpool 1. And we're on Facebook Live. So do join us or leave a comment on Facebook and we will answer your questions if you have a question for our panel. So before the break, we were talking about Henderson.
We're talking about Henderson, Kabir. So very quickly, obviously you mentioned he made a big difference, does a lot of running, obviously, being a very committed player. He's not the most skillful in the world. We've, as fans, I'll be honest with you, I've criticised him over the years as well. But he's been amazing, hasn't he? Made a big difference.
Absolutely, and I think sometimes, like I was saying, I think we just underestimate how good technically he is as well, right? That sometimes we really miss those passes behind the line where he can ping it from the 6th position, and the way he seamlessly fitted in after Fabinho got injured. And I think basically we were really worried about that. I think as Liverpool fans, lots of my friends were really worried when he got injured. So I think we've just got to recognise that he's also just got lots of quality as well.
I think with Henderson, he's grown in that role,
Exactly.
hasn't he? When he came, even myself, he didn't look like a Liverpool player. He didn't have the stature. He didn't have the look.
Abdul, you gave him a lot of abuse, I remember, on the stands.
I put my hand out. John Henderson, I'm sorry. But he's really grown in that role, and he's taken that leadership of the team by the scruff of his neck.
Absolutely.
Abid, just one thing, whilst we're on this line, obviously last season, what were the pivotal moments that made that difference?
I would point to 3 games this season which I think were pivotal. First of all is the second game of the season against Southampton away. If you remember, a few days before we were in Istanbul for the Super Cup final, and Adrian got injured in the celebrations, and he was a doubt for the Southampton game, and Alisson was already out because he was injured in the first game of the season. So to play in Istanbul on the Wednesday and then go to Southampton on the Saturday, and to win there. But then, if you remember, on the same
just
day,
whilst you're on the line, that's the one you took a private jet to, didn't you, Southampton? I do remember that quite well.
It looked like a private jet, but it was Flybe. It was a cheap, to be honest, yeah. But then, if you remember, in the evening game was City against Spurs at the Etihad. And City got a winner in injury time, 3-2, but it was ruled out by VAR. And they dropped 2 points there, and we won against Southampton. And I know it's the second game of the season, but I think that was, to actually go, however points we did ahead of City at that stage. I think that was one game, which was quite pivotal. The second game, I always refer to this as the Leicester game at home, because we dominated that game. I think we had 21 shots, and they had 2, and they only had one on target, and they equalised on I think it was the 80th minute, James Maddison.
Yeah.
But for Mane to get a penalty in injury time and for Milner to convert that, the ground was absolutely buzzing. And Leicester, if you remember at the time, they were title champions. I know it was early on, I think it was in October that game. But for them to, for us to beat them and open up a bit of a gap on them, I thought that was a pivotal moment. And the third and final game, I think, which was pivotal, was Villa away, because if you remember, we were 1-0 down with 3 minutes to go, and then Robertson got the equaliser, and in injury time, Mane got the winner. Now, City were at home that day, I think, to Southampton, and they were losing, but they ended up winning. Now, if we had lost, they would have been 3 points behind us, and they were coming to Anfield the following week. And if they had beaten us at Anfield, they would have gone ahead of us on goal difference. So, for us to beat Villa the way we did, and then beat City the following week, and
I mean, how do you think it affected City, that game at Anfield? Obviously, they were still in it at that time. And obviously that stunner from Fabinho as well, that meant.
They seem to crumble at Anfield, don't they?
Yeah.
I know they had a 0-0, was it last season? But they seem to go in the Champions League. They were all over the place. They were 3-0 up at half time, and even in the league in the past few years, I know we beat them 4-3. We were comfortably up 4-1 in one of the games, and then they got a couple of late goals back. They seem to crumble at Anfield. And I remember, I've not seen the entire series of the Man City on Prime, but I've seen a clip where Guardiola is at half-time at Goodison. City are playing Everton, obviously Goodison. And at half-time, he's worried about Liverpool, and he's with his backroom staff. And he's talking about meeting Liverpool in the Champions League in midweek. Instead of concentrating on the Everton game, he's more worried about the Liverpool game. So I think we do give him, the scares, and we had this season. We've been absolutely phenomenal, and I think we were 25 points behind City a couple of years ago, and then last season 1 point, and then this season to be 23 points ahead of them now. An absolutely amazing swing, a swing of points, absolutely amazing.
Amazing. So we have another caller online. Sorry, caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name's Ash from London.
So sorry, Ash, you've been waiting a while on the phone. So you're from London. Are you a Liverpool supporter?
No, I'm not actually, but I had a question for the panel.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, so I was just wondering the opinion on Danny Ings and releasing him. Obviously, his stats are clearly better than Harry Kane, so I would have thought there's a bit of regret, letting him go.
Danny Ings, Faisal.
Well, because of his record, yeah. I mean, you'd like to have Danny Ings, but Danny Ings wants to play first-team football, and unless you're Messi, Ronaldo, there's no way you're getting in front of that front three.
But we made a good bit of money
exactly.
from it. 18 million?
Exactly. Yeah. What bought him for how much? And then never due to injuries, he couldn't kickstart his Liverpool career. But do you know what? I said it the other day. I'm actually really happy for him that he's doing well at Southampton.
When he first came to Liverpool,
he was very good under Rodgers.
He was very good, and he looked like the kind of the fouler striker that it would be. That's what everyone wanted. Someone that was in the box all the time, and he get the sharp goals. And it's just unfortunate. I still think that if he didn't get the injury, he'd still be a very good Liverpool player to this very day.
100% agree.
Ash, I was going to ask you, what's your team?
Manchester United.
Manchester United. I mean, listen, thanks for finding out. Appreciate that. I know it's painful and you're brave as well. Honestly, how do you feel? Obviously with Liverpool winning the league, it's looking like they're going to go on maybe for a long time. What's your feeling? Can you compete again next season? Do you think Man United are on the right track to compete against Liverpool and Man City?
Yeah, definitely. You see what's happened since the break, and Ollie's got the team working well, and it's just a case of now building on the foundations that he set, and with the next transfer window, and before you know it, we'll be up there challenging with these guys and going for the title.
Yeah, I've got to say, Fernandes has made a massive difference, though, hasn't he?
Sorry?
Fernandes has made a big difference.
Yeah, he's been brilliant. It's a bit, it's that star factor that we needed. He's helping Pogba, and the attack is set up well for him. So he's going to like the Premier League next season. So look forward to seeing what he can do, and the team is definitely going in the right direction.
Ash, thanks very much for phoning and brilliant. Hopefully we get a bit of competition next season, and we wish Man United all the best of luck. But I am lying in a way, you know. But listen, you know, hopefully relegation won't be too tough next season. Ash, thanks for phoning.
Just on that, you know, the comments we saw from Gary Neville this week, and he was very honest with his comments this week. He talked about Jurgen Klopp and the influence he's had. Players who come in for 30 million, now they're 130 million pound players. And the fact that as a United guy, and United through and through, it hurts him and he hates to say it, but you know, Liverpool have won the league. And you know what, you give him some credit because he's been very honest with that, and Ash has been on the phone now. There's a lot of hardcore United fans out there that this is something that is that they didn't want to see, just as Gary Neville said.
Yeah, I think there's also for a lot of older United fans, I think they can see similarities between the Ferguson era and how that built up to what Klopp's doing. And I think
he was one game away from getting the sack, wasn't he?
Exactly,
Ferguson?
Yeah. But I just mean the way that the team's built up, though, right? I think, you know, the progressive kind of improvement, the incorporation of younger players into the squad seamlessly, and I think that was very much a Ferguson thing. And a lot of Liverpool fans, I have Ash is somebody as in he's a friend of mine, and we have lots of Liverpool mutual fans who are Man United fans. And yeah, I think that's the worry they've got, that this is going to be an era where Liverpool dominate for a long time. And I think, that's it's definitely on the cards, as long as Klopp's there at least.
One thing I was going to ask, what's when the subject with Klopp, Abdul? Abid, I'm going to ask you this question. Obviously, we had some legendary managers over the years, you know, Shankly, Paisley, you know, Joe Fagan, Dalglish, you know, amazing managers. Where would you put Klopp with these managers? You know, does he deserve a statue yet? Obviously, he's won everything this season and last season, but
that's a
in the same
question. He's up there as one of the best, but not yet. He's got to win a few more trophies, a few more leagues on the run. You know, year in, year out, in order to be considered. You know, I know a lot of people say he's a legend already, but I would say he needs to win a few more leagues, a few more Champions Leagues.
Surely, if he was
to a legend.
If he was to win the trophy league next season, the Premier League next season, that would put him in the good ranks to be a legend.
Of course. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love him to bits. I really do. But in terms of a statue, his job isn't finished yet. He's not finished by a long mile. So I think, you know, a couple of more trophies, Premier League trophies, another European Cup, etc. Build a statue. I'll help build it.
How much longer does he need to stay, Abid, to get that legendary status?
Well, he's here for another 4 or 5 years, isn't he? I would give him a lifetime contract, but obviously that's not happening, is it? I mean, you know, I'd say at least 7 or 8 years. You know, if he won another four or five trophies in that combination of Premier League and Champions League, fine. You know, honestly, a legend. He's a legend already in a lot of people's eyes anyway.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put him in the bracket of Shankly or Paisley at the moment.
Not quite there yet. I mean,
not quite yet.
Big footsteps to follow.
Yeah.
I was going to ask Faisal. Obviously, could be a bit of worry. You know, will he stay? Abid's mentioned staying for a long term. You know, will he stay long term? There's going to be interest from obviously other clubs as well. Madrid, German national team has been mentioned. Can you see him staying longer than 4 years, 5 years?
Yes, because I look at Klopp and I think Klopp is made for Liverpool and Liverpool is made for Klopp. I call him the German Scouser because he's just exactly like the Scousers. He's a bundle of joy to have at Liverpool. Don't get me wrong, wasn't his biggest fan when he first came in. I thought he could have done a few things better, but now because of what he's achieved and because of the young players he's bringing through and because of, you know, just when he talks about Liverpool, you could tell there's love coming out from him. And I would like to see Jurgen Klopp stay at Liverpool for the next, 15 to 20 years and perhaps build another 2 or 3 sides. But for now, as a legend, yes, because of what he's achieved. He's won us a Premier League, he's won us a Champions League, and I can only see him wanting to stay at this club and build another 2 or 3 teams.
And Habib, as the manager, now one of the best managers in the Premier League currently, do you think he's now set a bar where he's going to have to put pressure on him? So he's putting pressure on himself every week, and can he handle that pressure?
I think Klopp can handle any pressure going. I think he's just perfect. Like you said, like Faisal said, he's perfect with this club. And I think after winning the league, I think the pressure's off. I disagree. I don't think there is pressure on him. He's done it. He's done the
You don't think
impossible.
next season he'll increase pressure because everyone's going to be challenged and every game's going to be a cup final for the next season?
That's true. That's very much true. And it was really interesting, actually. The press conference for tomorrow's game came out today, and somebody asked him how you're going to defend next year's the trophy next year. And he says, we're not going to defend it. We're going to attack it. I think that's that mentality. The mentality's there. And I think the one thing we know from Klopp from the past 2 seasons is he knows how to pick up the players, right? He's not going to let them slack. And we know that from post-Kiev, and we know that after the heartbreak of last year, where, to be honest, lots of us fans were broken, right, after last year, and he's picked it up. So I think, in that sense, I think he can keep going to when he wants to. It's just when he wants to. When's that line where he thinks he's just had enough? He just needs to, because managing Liverpool is intense. We kill our managers, you know, like we basically absolutely.
Graham Souness had a heart attack.
Exactly, right? And I think that's what we.
Roy Hodgson's never recovered.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's just how long. But I think he's got such a grace period because what he's done.
I know we've got a call online. Just 1 second call online. I just want to quickly add to that is he's such a not just a player's manager, but the club, the fans' manager. He knows what to say, when to say, and he's got genuine love and passion for the supporters. And that comes across in his interviews and when he's meeting them before games and after games. You can see that.
Absolutely. And I think the one thing he has, he's got charisma. He's just got to the nth degree. And it comes out when he's speaking to the board, so to the owners of the club, and it comes out when he's speaking to the dinner lady in Melwood. So I think that's the thing that he's able to do that other managers can't, where he just talks to everybody at their level. And that works with the fans, right? The number of people, and he's got so many people behind him. I think it's really hard for Klopp to lose the fans now. I think, if not impossible. I mean, I think we could be mid-table and people will be singing his name for the next 10 years.
Well, we've got a caller on the line as well. Look, thanks for holding patiently. Caller, can you hear us?
I can indeed.
Yeah, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name's Archie Legman. I'm calling from Manchester.
Archie, thanks for calling. You're not a Man United fan, are you a City fan?
I'm a City fan. Blue Moon!
Hey, Archie, go for it. What do you have to say then about the season?
Well, I mean, I've got a question for one of the panellists, Faisal.
Faisal, yeah?
Faisal.
Go for it, yeah.
I mean, my question was regarding Shaqiri because, I mean, he's a bit of an SF now. You guys getting rid and also you missed out on Timo Werner, LL. Is there anyone else that you're looking to sign instead of him, LL? And my second point being is FF at the back with the trophy. Enjoy your time because we're getting our trophy back. Blue Moon!
Archie, brilliant. Faisal, yeah? In terms of, are we getting anybody else? Missed out on a few players?
We have to strengthen. It's important to strengthen, even when you win trophies. You know, keeps the players on their feet. You know, of course, you'd welcome another player that would come in and, you know, just be an instant success. Timo Werner is a tough pill to swallow. I like Traore from Wolves. I think he'd be a great addition. I think Sancho would be a great addition, but who are we to question the great Klopp? I mean, if he thinks that this current side is good enough, then we go with it. But I do think maybe 1 or 2 new faces are needed for the
Do you think, obviously, with City are going to be gunning for it next season? They've got a very strong squad already.
Yeah.
They're likely to improve. Man United are coming through, looking okay. Chelsea are looking good. You know, I reckon Tottenham will come as well.
But
do you think what do Liverpool need to do to
Just before you answer, Faisal, and looking at the champions winning teams over the last 5 or 6 years, you know, there's been 150, 160 million pounds spent. Klopp's winning team has spent only about 8 to 10 million pounds this season, and they won the league. So, do they have to spend in that region, or can he rely on the players that he's got?
Because the players that he brought were 30, 40 million pound signings, and now they doubled that. I don't think you need to go out there and splash ridiculous amounts of money, you know, because it's just not the way for me. It's not Jurgen Klopp's way. If he feels that there's a player out there worth 25, 30 million pounds, and we don't think he's good enough, we've been proven wrong from time to time again. We questioned Salah, he didn't do well at Chelsea. We questioned Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, you know, he was in and out of the Arsenal team. Now you look at Salah, he's one of the best players in the world. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, keep him injury-free, he's brilliant. I just think right now, stick to what we're doing. Let's not spend endless amount of money on players we don't need, and let's just keep doing what we're doing because it's got us to be in the best club in the world right now.
I mean, Archie, you still on the line? I think Archie's gone, but he made a value point about Shaqiri. He's been a fantastic player for Liverpool. He's another player that came in Didn't look like the Liverpool kind of player, but when he plays with the passion. He's played in the system to a T.
It's a shame though he's
It's a
injured
shame
for
that
most
he's
of the time.
Yeah,
He didn't get
and
much
I'm
game
actually
time.
quite gutted that he's leaving because he's a player I enjoyed watching quite so much.
And I think
Seems
that's
to have this calf problem all the time, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
Doesn't seem to get
Yeah,
over that.
But I suppose we've got Elliot back as well, Kabir.
Yes.
The young
Elliot's,
kid,
you know,
yeah.
looking like the replacement.
I think the thing will. To be honest, I think this summer it's going to be. I think the Liverpool kind of hierarchy are going to basically play a waiting game here, because of COVID, there's going to be a lot of clubs at the end of the transfer window having to sell players, and so I think the Werner decision was basically let's not cash in our chips now. It's too early. Let's see what's coming up, right? Because there could be a Dembele waiting, Barca. That you could pick up on a loan on the last day, you know, and I think that's basically where we are going to see this transfer window going.
What's your other like, Abdul? I got a few colleagues messaging me from Liverpool FC. Listen, guy, you have to phone in. Yeah, we're not taking any message on the phone. And Faisal, I think you got some praise, you know, sort of saying in terms of, you know, not signing any players next season. So I think FSG would be happy about that because I'm always moaning, you know, getting more players every season for the last few years. But
But if there was a player that we could buy and who could make a difference and who could come in and make that change into the team that need to go to the next level to make sure that we are winning the league again, we're in the Champions League finals, who would that play? Is there a player out there that we could pinpoint or you could pinpoint? That
I would go for that rugby
Abby.
player, Adama Traore from Wolves.
do you seriously, would you prefer him or would you prefer to wait longer? Maybe Mbappe. What would you prefer, Abid?
No, Mbappe, he's too expensive, and if we can't afford 53 million for Werner, there's no way in the world we're going to afford, 100 million plus for Mbappe.
Well, but maybe a few dealing with a Nike contract and things like that.
Yeah, possibly. You wouldn't say no, would you? In the sense that if it's available and they could go for it and to do it. But I think they have been looking at Traore, haven't they? And he's a fantastic player.
Yeah.
When I watched him at Anfield and at Molineux,
Yeah.
you think don't let him get the ball, and if he does, double up
You
on
can't
him.
do it,
He's a fantastic player.
We'd be happy to have him. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
Sancho's the other
Without a
one.
shadow,
That
without a
is-
shadow.
Yeah.
Sancho's the other one that everybody.
Out of Kabir, out of Sancho and Traore, obviously you're looking at roughly 35 million, maybe 40 million for Traore, 100 million they want for Sancho. What would you prefer?
I mean, is it really that low that Wolves want for Traore?
Yeah, I think there's some sort of contractual issues
Contractual
where we
issues,
can get him for roughly about 40 million. Wolves want a bit more than that, obviously. But Sancho, obviously, they're looking at 100 million. I think Man United made a bid of 50 million yesterday,
Yes, yeah.
or maybe even
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. I mean, I think my worry, I completely agree with the sentiment. I think when I've seen Traore play against us, he's phenomenal. You just can't touch him. But the question is, what do you do with a player like that in a system it's predicated on closing passing angles, ensuring that your pressing is absolutely on point. Otherwise, basically, you're open on the counter. So the question is, can an Adama Traore learn tactically? Because historically, he's always had that pace going forward. His managers, I think he basically was in the Barcelona academy, and one of the issues that was always that he just doesn't have the game intellect to basically play that Barca way. So the question, I guess, is, and I don't know, and I'm sure there's people in Liverpool who know a hell of a lot better, who have crunched the numbers, but if he can play in a Klopp system, he would be brilliant. But I have reservations about whether he can.
Right.
Maybe it's one of them deals that he'll prove us wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping so.
I mean, I wouldn't mind Ruben Neves, to be honest with you.
Oh,
We're talking
lovely,
on the
yeah.
subject of Wolves.
Fantastic player.
First, do you think we need a creative midfielder? Obviously, we've had Coutinho in the past. Do we need a creative?
If you'd asked me last season, I'd have said yes. If you'd asked me now, I'd say no. I'd say have faith in Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and even have some faith in Naby Keita, because we've won the biggest prizes without a creative midfielder. We've just, I'm saying this, and I was a big critic of him in his first 18 months because I think there was a lot of things he was getting wrong, but keep the faith in Jurgen Klopp because he's done a phenomenal job and he's proved us wrong from time to time again. He's adapted as well. Liverpool are now a team that doesn't have to score 3 goals to win a game. They can score a goal and they can just sit back. We've got the players now. We've got the right mindset. Let's not go out there and spend money on players we don't need. Improve the squad where we need to improve it. A left back, maybe another centre back, maybe another good winger. But for now, I say just keep doing what we're doing. Let's not change much because it's worked for us the last 2 years.
Can I just say on the midfielders? Our midfielders are not meant to be creative.
Exactly.
They're meant to provide the platform for our front three and the fullbacks.
The fullbacks.
So our fullbacks they play as far forward as wingers. usually this would be impossible unless you play a back three. But we can do it because we have Fabinho, Henderson, and Gini.
But don't you think, Abid? Obviously, we played the hard pressing game. Where everyone's working hard. Don't you think teams might suss us out? They might come out with different tactics next season. Should we have something different?
But then they didn't come out with new tactics this season because we were like that last season to get 97 points as well. So they haven't sussed that this season. But for people like Hendo who can change from a 6 to an 8, and Klopp's developed that in him. Like I said, I don't think we need creative midfielders. We have one in Minamino. I know he can play midfield, he can play up front, etc. So I wouldn't splash the cash too much on midfielders, to be perfectly honest.
Abby, just before we're coming to the end of the show, quite fast actually.
Yep.
Just before that, there's players on that bench in Minamino, you've said, in Keita, who haven't really played much last 2-3 seasons, who've got absolute immense potential. Are these some of the players that will come through next season? Is these some of the players that Klopp's looking for next season to come through? If they're injury-free, of course.
I think Keita, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Just quickly as well, guys, we only got a few seconds left. Very quickly, Abid, then before we go. Next season, up-and-coming young player, who are you tipping to make the grade?
Brewster,
yeah.
Ryan Brewster.
Curtis Jones.
Curtis Jones.
Nico Williams or Harvey Elliott.
Nico Williams got it tough though, isn't he? With
He has,
Trent there.
he has. But like we mentioned, the cup runs, we need to take them a bit more serious next season. I would like to see the FA Cup or the League Cup in the cabinet as well.
What do you prefer next season? Which trophy?
Premier League, all day long.
All day long?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Yep.
Abid, very quickly.
Yeah, Premier League all day long.
Premier
absolutely.
League.
And yourself?
Myself, everything. Premier League, FA
ask so
Cup,
much.
League Cup, Grand National, Eurovision Song Contest. I want everything. Okay.
Well, I'm hoping that Ryan Brewster gets a chance. We used to play with his dad.
Yeah, Ryan, local
Sporting
boy
Bengal
from here
FC.
down the road.
So he's a fantastic boy. We saw him growing up here in East London. Absolutely brilliant, and he deserves a chance to play in that first team. And I think, given a chance, a good run of games, he will make an absolute difference.
A wonderful kid as well, isn't he? Very
Definitely.
down to earth. But guys, that's the end of the show. Unfortunately, we could have gone for another 2 hours. Listen, thanks very much, Abid, for joining us.
Thank you for
Kabir,
having me. Appreciate
well,
it.
coming all the way down there. Faisal again,
Pleasure
brilliant
as
to have you.
always.
Abdel, unfortunately, we got to go.
We have to go. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another fantastic show and a fantastic topic. So until then, enjoy the celebrations, keep safe, follow the guidelines until the celebrations is announced officially, and enjoy it from home.
Thanks.